We're unpacking the crystal ball, looking at what happens after Donald Trump's inauguration and how you can prepare for it. So guys, if you haven't seen many of my videos yet, I can tell you that this video is a must-watch. And not because I want to make myself seem important, but I want to clear up the bullshit that's being talked about out there day after day, which leads unaware investors to burn through their entire capital. Over. Yeah, we just had a major correction here. Yeah, why is there even a correction happening? The price can only go up and so on and so forth. And with that, I want to clear things up today. However, there is still the drawing from our advent calendar in collaboration with BitMEX, and there's also a new door that we will be opening. So I would definitely stay tuned if I were you, but let's not waste any time. I've outlined a few factors for you to figure out where we currently stand in the bull run cycle, whether it's really over, and if you should still invest. Oh, what am I saying? Let's wait until after the intro. And with that, we start the video with a quote from Crypto Gang.
No, and again, no.
So that was quite a statement. At this point, I have to say, Marcel, please don't take it the wrong way that I included this. I love this video. It's really awesome. I can also give everyone the tip to check out Marcel. Crypto Gang, by now a well-established channel in the YouTube cosmos, in the crypto YouTube cosmos. And yeah, the guy knows what he's doing. He has a clue. And that cool Ruhrpott style makes it really entertaining. However, I want to touch on a few topics where I have a somewhat different opinion. It should have roughly been here.
Did no one ever explain to you that you buy low, not high? And no, a 10% correction from the all-time high is not low.
Okay, he's right about that. I want to leave it at that for now. He's really right about that because a 10% correction when we've shot up hundreds of percent beforehand is really not that heavy.
However, there was a statement that I disagree with regarding altcoins, that they have been cancelled. No, Uncle Dieter, nothing has been cancelled at all. Unfortunately, you just bought crap thoughtlessly at a really bad time. Who would advise someone to do that? You should ask, who advises someone to go all in and buy during an ongoing bull run? Who?
And now, at this point, I want to counter that and we're diving straight into the video because I'm currently buying 1,000 myself. The question is just what, and that's the big problem with the whole thing. And that's why we're diving right in here, because I've always pointed out that there are different opinions on how the bull run is actually going, etc. On Reddit, for example, I have here, I've seen this path of altcoin season. And I'll get into that shortly because things have changed a bit since then. So this isn't the most current article. In the past, it felt like there was only Bitcoin and then there was Ethereum and then all these small caps floating around. Now, not much comparable has joined Bitcoin, but for example, with Ethereum, we now have Cardano, we have Polkadot. Okay, that might be a bit smaller, but at least we have larger blockchains that are getting involved. Of course, we have to mention XRP, which has really outperformed lately. And strangely enough, not much has happened with Ethereum. But I've also seen forecasts where people say, okay, what should the ratio to Bitcoin and Ethereum look like? Okay, I don't know if that's still a relevant measure. Definitely here you can see the normal progression. First, all the money flows into Bitcoin, then it spills over into Ethereum after profits are realized, and then the large caps come in. And that's how we had an altcoin season. I personally believe that today, or rather, as of now, quite a few other things, because, for example, we now have institutions that were not in this cosmos before. There hasn't been a bull run where institutional investors could invest, like through ETFs, and that's something we shouldn't forget. However, I still stand by the fact that whether with or without Ethereum, ultimately, and we've just seen this, that's how the cycle always plays out. This means fiat money flows into Bitcoin, then from Bitcoin it flows into the large caps. You could also throw in some meme coins in between because they still mix in a bit. When the large coins are done, and with the large caps, we've definitely seen a run. So anyone who wants to claim that we're not in a burn yet is wrong. Nonsense. Look at what happened with Ripple, what happened with Cardano, what happened with Solana. So there were many that suddenly outperformed the market. Hedera as an example. So we've already reported on many of these projects and everyone has referred to them as dinosaurs and not much is happening with them right now. Well, we've seen a lot has happened After that, yeah, okay, I always group mid caps and small caps together. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. That's where the biggest volatility is. Why? Well, because they are small caps, obviously there's little volume in them, which means you can quickly double, triple, or quadruple a price. Whether it ends up being 50, 100, or 300 times, let's just leave that on the side for now. By the way, here's a little message. Even if there's some prophet running around saying, hey, check it out, this project, I suggested it, and now it's done 300x. Yeah, you often couldn't realize that 300x because, for example, the price impact is quite significant. So that means if you're pulling out too much relative to what's in there, then you'll first have a deduction on that, or in the end, someone was faster, which is usually the case, and sold before you. So always remember, and this is the dollar cost averaging that I always talk about, buy in chunks and then sell in chunks as well. 1,000, I would tend to say that if a project peaks at, say, 100x, then you'll take away a maximum of 50x. So roughly calculate with half of what's realistic because you often exit the market, so to speak, too early. But we're back to the point. It's better to realize something too early than to be too late. And by the way, that's what most people do wrong, which is why most of them lose their money during a bull run. And I want to touch on that briefly. By the way, the retailers are not the target audience here, and I'll explain to you in detail why that is. You'll also get a forecast today on how things might go after Trump takes office and how you might prepare for that. And no, I don't have a crystal ball. But before we get to that, let's quickly compare the last bull runs. So for example, I marked the last halving. And after that, there was also a massive increase in Bitcoin. Yes, good morning. We had that here too. Now, we shouldn't forget about this whole projection, folks, that the institutions are on board, which is what quickly pushed Bitcoin up here. And that's why many people say that it all started. No, a new target audience has been opened up for the year 2021, a market that couldn't get into Bitcoin before. And that, of course, pushed a lot of volume in. So it's kind of like this. Imagine you have a door and behind it is a huge mass of water. When you open the door, what happens? That floods in. You can roughly imagine it like this. And then suddenly we had a completely different level here because people, institutions suddenly had access to an asset that they didn't have before. So now there was this massive increase. And I took a look at where the last altcoin season roughly started. So this is the complete bull run in the time frame. Here, by the way, and when was the altcoin season? Here it is exactly, when Bitcoin was starting to decline again. It makes sense in a way because money is being shuffled around, which means it's being pulled out from somewhere to be put back in somewhere else. And if you take a look at this now, we have this correction included here. Now, the clever ones might say, yes, folks, we are at the start of the altcoin season. Now, we should also mention for comparison that, well, XRP, Cardano, Solana, and so on have already pumped a lot. So you can definitely notice that there's some kind of parallel there. The small caps have already started to move a bit. So I'm also seeing a big loss right now in my portfolio. But personally, I'm still holding on because I believe that the small cap altcoin season is still coming. And I also think that these altcoins will generally make a comeback. But will it happen? Hey guys, who knows? No one can tell you, no matter what the gurus out there are saying, because now we come to the next question. Here you can see a comparison of Bitcoin and Ethereum in 2021. And if we look at this in the past, so the line, not the candles are Bitcoin, the line is Ethereum. If we let it run alongside, well, then it was roughly comparable. If we take a look at this now, okay, Ethereum has moved up a bit, but it's still a bit lower in relation to Bitcoin, and then it continued to drop. Yeah, well, what we have coming up now is the correction again. On the other hand, you have to say that in the past, Ethereum has really caught up compared to Bitcoin. So usually Bitcoin has always been ahead, and then Ethereum thought, okay, now let's kick it into high gear. And bam, just like the Roadrunner, we're going to chase after it. And then it really shot up. We're still missing that a bit right now. So as you might notice, Ethereum isn't really looking that appealing right now. Now, we should also mention that sure, Bitcoin has all the institutional investors involved, but that could also happen with Ethereum. But the spot ETF hasn't really made a huge impact either. So if you look at it in relation to Bitcoin, then it is not for nothing that it is the most successful ETF of all time, and not Ethereum. You can see the gap because institutional investors putting the most money into the market are only going for Bitcoin or MicroStrategy. This bet could shake up the ecosystem. I saw an interview clip with Michael Saylor who said if Bitcoin hits $1, they'll buy it all up. But how do you repay those who lent you money with borrowed capital? And I honestly wonder, I saw a clip of an interview with Michael Saylor where he said that Bitcoin hits $1, then we'll just buy it all up. Yeah, okay, but how do you pay back those, who lent you money with borrowed capital? I don't get it, but all right, he will know, all good. In any case, it looks like we have to wait and see how the proportionality holds up here. Personally, I would say that I wouldn't consider this as a core indicator. So for me, there are other metrics, and we'll move on to that comparison right away. And if we pull this out from the past, you'll notice, wow, it was always going up. Then down, then up, then down. Here was basically the last peak of the altcoin season where you could really see, wow, there was a lot of movement in the market. We should have even been over 90, peaking at 2001. In the end, though, it has rapidly declined again because attention has shifted back to Bitcoin. But that doesn't mean it won't come back. So here too, you can see that there's definitely movement going up and down, up and down. So right now, according to dollar cost averaging, it could be interesting, and I actually disagree with Marcel on this, as it can definitely make sense to buy small caps since their prices have dropped. At least that's what I do, but this isn't investment advice. Would I buy Bitcoin right now? No, definitely not. So if anything, I'll wait until my correction comes down. Would I buy Ripple right now? Not at all. Would I buy Solana? Not at all. Even if some say that unless you're trading actively. So now we've learned a lot that none of us have a crystal ball and that a lot of those YouTubers out there are really saying a bunch of nonsense, and we should talk about that. But what are you actually learning from the whole NR? Well, for example, this graphic, namely the Fear and Greed Index. So I had an interview with Christian Berger, a hedge fund manager with his own fund at the Stuttgart Stock Exchange. So the guy knows his stuff. And he also mentioned to pay attention to the Fear and Greed Index. Feel free to click here for the interview. It describes exactly how crazy the market is moving right now. So are they all scared? Are they greedy? Are they extremely greedy? Especially when the value goes down here. We were already at nearly 94 and above during this bull run, and then you could tell the market was heating up, and bam, the correction hit. And now we're going to answer the question of all questions. We're pulling out the crystal ball. What happens after Donald Trump's inauguration? I marked that out and did some research online, so just to clarify, no, I don't want to take credit for someone else's work. These aren't my predictions. It's an intersection of several predictions, and there are two that stand out quite a bit. So the first thesis would be, and by the way, this would be the bearish one. Not so great. Here's the line. That's Donald Trump's inauguration. So now the market is just going to move a bit further up, and then there's going to be a sell the news event. This would mean that the market would completely crash at first. So please don't hold it against me. This is my drawing ability. I think my strengths lie elsewhere, but I believe you get the point. Then things will go back and forth a bit in the summer, and then it will continue to rise towards the second altcoin season. Now, let's not forget at this point, ultimately, the market makers want to profit from the retailers. 2001, wait, we are all retailers. Yes, exactly. That means you should also take an anti-cyclical approach and not let yourself be lured into every trap, because we know your money isn't gone. It just belongs to someone else. And now you should turn the tables a bit and not rush in like 99% of the crowd out there, wildly panicking into FOMO, or then when there's FUD, selling in shock and taking huge losses. So that would definitely be the worst scenario because as harsh as it sounds, fewer retailers would lose their money. However, there is a second forecast, and I personally find it much more realistic. That means we have Donald Trump's inauguration again, and then there's what I wrote here. 2001 because of Trump. So a pump Trump or a Trump pump, depending on how you look at it. Trump pump makes more sense. So you know what I mean? Definitely, it's going parabolic. All the altcoins are exploding. We're all going to get rich. And then, oh yeah, the correction comes, right? And then it crashes hard downwards. A lot of retailers are going to lose a whole lot of money. Then we go through the summer lull again. And then the second normal altcoin season comes. And that's definitely a scenario we could consider. And at least I would say I find it more realistic. Do I know it? No, but I trust it because there are already a few indicators. Firstly, Trump comes to power. On the same day Gary Gensler leaves, we have the SEC ruling, but then the SEC would have to file an objection 5 days in advance. Let's hope they don't do it. If they do it, well, if they don't, that could also trigger a significant boost because ruling against Ripple is basically crucial for the entire ecosystem. So if it goes in favor of Ripple, then Ripple will definitely have the opportunity to pump. I talked about it yesterday, check it out. However, that could also boost the entire market upwards. And that's a really intense thing where you can say, wow, there are already possibilities for why this parabolic rise could happen. And so we come to the last graphic to discuss. And here I would tend to say that we have a Bitcoin dominance that has risen or is currently rising. We have a Bitcoin price that, even though it's only a 10% drop after the massive rise, has still corrected, and especially altcoins that have plummeted by about 30 to 40%. So at its core, if we want to stay true to the old statistics, we would have to say that we are currently here, so definitely at the start of the bull run. Not the bull run itself, but this altcoin season that we are all waiting for. However, these are just pure forecasts and often hopes from the past. And now we come directly to the drawing of the giveaway. So yesterday we got tons of calls and comments, which is super cool. Let's keep discussing this. Feel free to write in the comments and we'll copy that out, paste it here, and dive into what we have for the drawing. And here we see, congratulations to Mario Weber. Great info, thanks. XRP is the future. Yeah, okay, but please don't get too emotionally attached to it. XRP is just another cryptocurrency like many others. I can only advise you to go in without emotions because that can really mess up your returns, but that's just a side note. And here is just a quick reminder that you have approximately 1 day and only 13 hours left to successfully double your deposit at Pionext. I also mentioned yesterday in the Uptrend Trading Group, which is the new group where content is shared, where coin tips come in. By the way, I recently had one with 50x and also other info like how to secure certain deals. Here, for example, just a 500 deposit bonus. I showed the current status of my bot. Feel free to check it out. I won't go into much detail about it. Just take a look at it when you have some time. Below is the link to this promotion. You only have 1 day and 13 hours to sign up, and then you can secure the corresponding bonus. Or if you deposit $10, you can also get $50, for example. Secure. So from that perspective, it's definitely a cool thing. And so we come to the drawing. And here is again an original sealed envelope. How can you win? So first of all, the winner, please message me on Telegram. I forgot to mention that just now. And then you can claim your prize. Also, please create a BitMEX account. You can find the link in the description and you can secure a $25 bonus. And to everyone who wants to win now, please set up an account. So as I said, you'll definitely have the trading bonus, and as you can see here, 200. That means you can win 200 BitMEX tokens. Let's discuss in the comments, write a message down here, and then we can talk about it. Exchange thoughts. What do you think about it? What's your opinion on how the market will continue? I'm really curious to see what opinions come in. And if the discussion should keep going, join the Telegram group. Let's talk about it. See you in the next video. Until then, all the best. Bye.